The NBA never sleeps. And sometimes the biggest stories aren't about superstars, they're about opportunity. Today, a former Los Angeles Lakers center is getting exactly that, a second chance, as the Memphis Grizzlies deal with a growing crisis in their front court. Christian Koloko is back in the NBA spotlight. And while this move might not dominate headlines like a blockbuster trade, it could quietly become one of the most interesting low-risk signings of the season. Let's break down what happened, why Memphis made this move, what it says about the Lakers' decision to move on, and what this opportunity could mean for Koloko's future in the league. Because this story is bigger than it looks. Breaking news: Koloko to Memphis. According to ESPN insider Shams Charania, the Memphis Grizzlies have signed former Los Angeles Lakers and Toronto Raptors center Christian Koloko to a 10-day contract using their hardship exception. The move became official on December 22nd, and Koloko made his debut with Memphis that same day. At 6'11", the 25-year-old big man is stepping into a situation where opportunity meets necessity. And for the Grizzlies, necessity is the key word. Who is Christian Koloko? For casual fans, Christian Koloko may not be a household name, but around NBA front offices, his profile is very clear. Koloko is a defensive-minded center, a rim protector, a rebounder, a player who understands his role. He played college basketball at Arizona, where he earned Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year honors, a major accolade that immediately put him on NBA radars. Defense has always been his calling card, and that hasn't changed. Koloko's time with the Lakers. Christian Koloko joined the Los Angeles Lakers on a two-way contract at the start of the 2024-25 season. With a roster loaded with stars and veterans, minutes were always going to be limited. Still, Koloko appeared in 37 games with the Lakers. His numbers weren't flashy, but they told a very specific story. He averaged 2.4 points per game, shot over 60% from the field, grabbed 2.5 rebounds, played his role with efficiency. In limited minutes, Koloko did what teams expect from a developmental big man: defend, rebound, finish around the rim. The Lakers liked him enough to bring him back on another two-way contract heading into the 2025-26 season. But then, everything changed. Why the Lakers moved on? Last month, the Lakers waived Christian Koloko to make room for former Brooklyn Nets forward Drew Timme. This wasn't necessarily a reflection of Koloko's ability. It was about roster flexibility. The Lakers, chasing contention, needed a different skill set: more offense, more spacing, more immediate impact. And in the NBA, especially for fringe roster players, timing is everything. Koloko became the odd man out, but that door closing in Los Angeles opened another one in Memphis. Memphis, a team in trouble up front. The Memphis Grizzlies have had a wildly uneven start to the 2025-26 season. They currently sit at 13-16 and are riding a two-game losing streak. But the real problem isn't the backcourt, it's the front court. Injuries have hit Memphis hard. The Zach Edey problem. Rookie center Zach Edey recently suffered an ankle injury and will be sidelined until at least January. Big men of that size historically struggle with durability in the NBA, and while Edey has massive upside, availability is already becoming a concern. Without him, Memphis suddenly lacks size, rim protection, and interior rebounding. Brandon Clarke is still recovering. Brandon Clarke has only appeared in 2 games this season after returning from off-season right knee surgery. He's still finding his rhythm, still regaining confidence, still not ready to shoulder heavy minutes. That leaves Memphis thin, very thin. Santi Aldama doing more than expected. Forward Santi Aldama has taken on a larger role than originally planned. While he's been solid, he's not a traditional center, and Memphis doesn't want to overextend him. All of this explains why the Grizzlies turned to the hardship exception, and why Christian Koloko suddenly became valuable. Why Memphis chose Koloko. This wasn't a random signing. Memphis scouts have been watching Koloko closely at the G League level, and what they saw stood out. Defense, rebounding, effort. Even when his scoring numbers weren't impressive, his impact was. G League performance that turned heads. In 4 tip-off tournament games split between the South Bay Lakers and the Austin Spurs, Koloko averaged 7.8 points per game, shot over 62.5% from the field, grabbed 7.5 rebounds, blocked 2.3 shots per game. Those numbers don't jump off the page offensively, but defensively, they scream NBA ready. For a Memphis team desperate for interior help, that matters. A low-risk, high-upside move. This is a 10-day contract. There's no long-term commitment, no financial risk, but there is upside. If Koloko provides rim protection, energy, and reliable minutes, Memphis could easily extend him, and if he doesn't, they move on. That's the beauty of the hardship exception. What this means for Koloko. For Christian Koloko, this is everything. This is a chance to prove he belongs, show defensive value, earn rotation minutes, stay in the NBA. At 25 years old, he's still young for a center, still developing, still learning, and now he's in a situation where his strengths are needed. Could the Lakers regret this? Probably not in the short term. The Lakers are focused on winning now. But stories like this remind us how thin the line is in the NBA. One team's depth piece becomes another team's solution. And if Koloko thrives in Memphis, Lakers fans may look back and wonder. Final thoughts. This isn't a superstar signing. This isn't a blockbuster trade. But it's a perfect example of how the NBA works. Opportunity meets preparation. Christian Koloko waited, stayed ready, and now he has a real shot. For the Memphis Grizzlies, this move could stabilize their front court. For Koloko, it could save his NBA career. And for fans, it's a reminder that sometimes the most important stories aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones quietly unfolding right before our eyes. Outro. CTA. Engaging. If you want real-time Lakers updates, former players news, and everything that affects Lakers Nation, make sure to subscribe to Lakers Alert, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Because when something happens, you'll hear it here first.